Welcome to the Peace Over Pain podcast with Dr. Kevin Reese, where we examine the body as a whole unit and move people from health burdens to health miracles. So get your questions ready, because the show starts now.
Welcome to the Peace Over Pain podcast. I'm your host, Joe LaChance, and I'm here with the author of Peace Over Pain, Dr. Kevin W. Reese. Welcome, Dr. Reese, and how are you today?
Happy New Day. Hello. I'm excited because I got a phone call from Jack LaLanne's wife, Elaine.
Elaine LaLanne.
Yeah. And she left me a great voice note. We had a great conversation, and she sent me his new book, or their new book. And, there's a nice little message in there to me.
Oh, nice.
So it was nice because, Jack is the guy who inspired this whole thing, right?
Really. I remember him from years back, and I'm assuming you used to watch him too?
Well, he was before my time, but I was certainly aware of him once I got into the health field, and, so I studied him. So.
Yeah, no, I do remember him. He used to be on in the mornings, and he had a whole exercise show. It was great. It was great. My mom used to watch him all the time. She loved him. So, yeah, he is a pioneer in the field. I don't know if you want to say Richard Simmons is in his same category. He was also an exercise guy, but he wasn't really a diet guy. Jack really
Jack was both, and the mindfulness stuff, without using that term. He used the term attitude.
Right.
And yeah, he was called a quack, a charlatan, all in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. And then in the 60s, he started taking off, and fitness started taking off.
Yeah, no, he definitely was a big name in the 60s. He was mainstream enough to have a literally daily TV show on a regular network.
He's like the first virtual health influencer.
Yeah, I would say so. Maybe Charles Atlas, but he was more about weightlifting and getting strong. I don't know if you remember Charles Atlas, but he was another one from back in those days. And the reason you bring Elaine up is that because she is, you have conducted an interview with her, or you are conducting an interview with her for your other podcast, Inner Peace with Dr. Reese, which you can find on Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah.
Every Sunday you have a new episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be looking forward to Elaine LaLanne's episode on that.
Yeah.
And but today we have all questions. Today is a good day. We had a lot of questions come in during the week. And,
all right, let's go.
Yeah. And before we do get started, I do want to remind people that we will be taking more questions. So if you have a question for Dr. Reese, leave it in the comments below, and we will either get to it during the week or we'll bring it up next week on the show. So yeah, I'm excited. This is a good show because it's always nice to interact with the the listeners.
Yes.
So let's get started. And of course, your email already got buried in a mountain of spam. But okay. So, this is an interesting one. You have to explain to me what this is. But this is from Luke on IG. And he says, what do we do after someone has a TIA? And that means a short stroke, whatever that means.
Yeah. So if someone has a TIA, we're talking basically the same thing as a heart attack. It's a circulation issue. Blood isn't getting to the brain. So it's, atherosclerosis, basically. So we have to look at soft tissue deficiencies, nutritional deficiencies, and we have to look at blood sugar. And we have to look at muscle dysfunction or posture.
Because
right?
that could be a block that's blocking the blood from getting to the brain, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So if someone was willing, then that's what we would have to do. We would have to do an N-ray, see what's going on with the deficiencies, then do a P-ray, see what's going on with the muscles, and then we correct it. Very simple.
But you made a good point. You just said a good word, willing. If someone is willing. Now, what would be the medical monopolies treatment for something like this? I'm sure they have some kind of drug or something that they
Yeah.
would give somebody, a blood thinner or whatever it would be.
Not to mention they would do statins because they would say there's cholesterol plaquing.
Right.
It's the
So,
same thing as a heart attack, same exact concept.
except in the brain, it's like a brain attack, right?
But like we talked about a few episodes ago, when you have blood sugar issues, all your veins, all your arteries, all your capillaries are greatly affected. They become hard.
Mm.
And then the body puts out cholesterol and calcium to try and put out the fire. And so the circulation gets messed up.
Right, right. And this would be somebody who already had a stroke and maybe they don't want to go with the medical monopoly. And then they would come to the Peace Over Pain Clinic and get started on the protocols. And you would probably make a special protocol for them because they did have a TIA and it would
Yeah.
address those issues.
Yeah.
But again, they have to be willing to break free from the medical monopoly. And
Yeah. That's the hard part.
that is
November 5th, I'm doing my first live event in 3 years at the Bridge in Farmington, Connecticut. And, there's going to be people in that crowd, Joe, that they're either going to get offended or they're going to be dumbfounded, or it's so hard to break these limited beliefs because your whole life you were told, go to the doctor, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. But the doctor isn't doing anything for you. It's obvious.
right.
And people just tend to get very defensive sometimes. And, they're like, well, why, if there's a quote unquote cure, then why aren't they giving it to me? What makes you think you have it in your little office with your
Right.
little diplomas and your things on the wall? Like, what makes you blah, 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 and it's like, Joe, it's like Tua from the Miami Dolphins. He just had a horrible injury on Thursday night. And as soon as his head hit the ground, his hands went into what's called posturing. And they went like, I can't even manipulate it. They crossed, and he was just like, it's a traumatic thing. And everyone's saying concussion, 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 concussion. And I'm saying, no, not concussion, neck,
Right.
cervical spine. The nerves in the cervical spine go down into the hands. So, and then they're saying, well, he had ankle injuries. And I see sportscasters on TV saying, oh, ankle injury has nothing to do with it. And I'm like, yes, it does. It's your full body posture. It's all connected. It's a kinetic chain. So yeah, if you have an ankle injury, it could absolutely affect your cervical spine.
Mm-hmm. Right, because they're all connected. If you could see the map of the nerves and the muscles and the bones and the way it all works, you would see it's like a big electrical circuit, that is all connected, and people don't understand, it's just like a short circuit in your car, it could be one little wire that's out of place and your car won't start,
Right.
Or you look at a motherboard, one little circuit could burn out and your whole
Sure.
computer's shot. So,
Yes.
we go back to that metaphor that your body is like a machine or like a vehicle. And it's wired, they model these things after what they already know, which is the human body.
Right.
So, all right. So people, that's good to know that there is a nutritional and a postural, and there is a way to treat somebody besides with drugs after a stroke, a small stroke they're talking. I mean, I know there are a lot of people who have these really traumatic strokes where, they lose a lot of their function, but we're talking about a small stroke.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's an interesting one. This is from Kevin on Facebook. Is bioavailability of minerals from mountains the same as sea moss or other biological sources?
No, the minerals in mountains and rocks in general are more concentrated and more efficient.
Right. Now,
When minerals are in water, and that's where sea moss and spring water comes from, right? That's just oxygen bonding with the minerals. And then because obviously there's oxygen in H2O, H2
right,
oxygen. So that's grabbing a hold of the minerals and then it's carrying the minerals. So for those that are into the sea moss or into the this or that, the seaweed, that plant is doesn't have a ton of minerals in it by itself. It's the water. It's bathing in water, which has minerals.
right,
But if you go to the source, like we get our minerals in Utah, and you look at these mountains, the limestone and this and that, that's the source.
right. And now I do know that you also offer a plant-based mineral concentrate.
Yeah.
But you're saying maybe the minerals that come from rocks are a little bit more concentrated, a little bit stronger than a plant-based minerals.
Well, the plant-based minerals are just because the carbon's been altered. It's just the way it was processed.
Right,
But it is coming from the mountain.
right, right,
The
right.
ones
No,
that we offer are coming from the mountain.
right. I got you. I got
Yep.
you.
And that's the secret formula. And that's what's in the 90 essential nutrients is that mineral base. It's the base of everything we do.
Right. And it's important, like, again, we've gone over this a few times. So I don't know if we have to go over sea moss and all those kind of things again. So it does make a difference and they are stronger. Okay, that's good to know. All right. Oh, this is an interesting one. I started using my left hand for computer work using a mouse. Does that help to balance things out?
No, what it does is create good mindfulness training. Anytime you use your opposite hand, it's great mindfulness training. Like Joe, you broke your wrist a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, about 2 years ago, I broke my wrist.
Yeah. What was it? Your main hand?
No, it was my left hand, but
Okay.
still, you use your left hand for a lot of things.
Right. Well, if it was your right hand, you would have had to use your left hand, and it would have been quite a lot of training. Even switching your hand to wipe after a bowel movement could be,
But this is true. It's just, yeah.
It's amazing how much we lean on the hand that most people are righties. So this person that asked this question, I don't know their name, but
It was
it doesn't balance it out.
Lucy.
What you need to do after the computer is get down to kneeling counter stretch would be a good idea. Doing arm circles would be a good idea. Even some downward dog would be a good idea.
Oh,
But
okay.
you don't have to change the activity. You have to change the body that comes to the activity.
Ah, okay.
So
I got you.
I'm a computer guy. I wouldn't try using my left hand to mouse around. That would just slow my work down.
Okay, I have a long one here. Do you mind if I just get to the question?
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a bit of other stuff about deleting and things like that. So let's talk about this one. In 2020, this is from Elna on Facebook. In 2020, amidst COVID-19, I completely tore my Achilles tendon, and being super obese and the government the government hospital would not even consider an option or help to operate. Just give it time and it might heal from its, which it hasn't. And there is not 1 centimeter in my body that is not in 24/7 pain. So basically she tore her Achilles tendon, and because she was obese, the government hospital would not even give her an option to operate. Basically, I think what she's asking, is there a way to heal it naturally?
Well, if it's torn, then it, needs to be reattached.
Right.
But, what we're talking about here is soft tissue.
Mhm.
So nutritional deficiencies of soft tissue. We're talking selenium, we're talking magnesium, we're talking copper, things like this. And, postural therapy, she's got to lose the weight. That's very important.
Yeah, that's what I
There's,
was going to bring up. I mean,
sure,
the
there's
whole
a big
thing.
mineral deficiency there. Maybe she has pica and she can't stop eating. I don't know.
Right. You'd have to actually talk to her. So Elna, why don't you get in the group and get an N-ray, and we can help you get on the right track. Because I think, Kevin, the big thing is, it says right here, being super obese, the hospital would not even consider an option to operate. So I think that's the first thing that has to be taken care of. Is
I wonder why. Maybe it's because the anesthesia.
maybe, or because of the weight, on her leg. That's a good question. That is a good question. But obesity, as you know, brings along a lot of other issues.
Oh yeah, we just had a guy in my neighborhood just died, and he was very obese. I mean, like I would guess close to 600, like one of those like you see in TV shows, and you know, if somebody had said, "Oh, I wonder how he died," I mean, that's how he died.
Right.
It's obvious.
Basically. Yeah.
It's obvious. I mean, when you get that large,
I
man,
mean,
it's tough.
have you ever seen a car when somebody tries to load too much into it?
Yeah.
It's the same, and it starts hitting the ground, the tires get all screwed up.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Your bones are your base, and then the muscle is on top, but on top of the muscle is another, like a protective layer.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what you would consider body fat. And your bones in your body, for whatever size you are only designed to carry a certain amount of weight before they start becoming stressed out. So when you exceed the amount of weight that your body is designed to handle, you're just asking for trouble,
And not to mention your organs are being pushed around.
Right. So I think it's important that people understand that. And again, like you said, a lot of obesity comes from a nutritional deficiency like pica, or because you're eating sugar because you have there's certain deficiencies that you have. A lot of people don't understand a lot of the cravings that they have for food come from the fact that they don't have a certain mineral or a certain nutrient in their body, and their body craves that food because it's a substitute for that.
They're looking for salt.
Right.
And the junk food companies know that. That's why they put so much sodium in the junk food.
Oh yeah. And sodium is in everything, look at McDonald's food, look at anything like that. It's a well-known trick in the food industry, and they do play tricks. So yeah, again, please get in touch with us, Elna, and maybe we can help you get on the right track. Okay, here's one from Corey on Facebook. If oils aren't suggested, what do you recommend for omegas? I use an oil blend for omegas versus fish oil. Yeah. So what do you recommend?
So we have a formula that's in gel caps. That's what we use to create the 90 essential nutrients as far as the omegas. Oils are not a good idea unless they're gel capped.
Right. I think what people need to understand is two things about fish oil. Right. And I think we discussed this. saturated fats, oils that have saturated fats like ghee, etc. I believe because fish oil is an animal product, the fat is more the oil itself is more saturated. Therefore, it does not oxidize as quickly. And what people have to understand is that when this oils are processed, they're put right into gel caps. They don't have a chance to oxidize, correct?
Right. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
The thing that I want to bring up, because this is interesting, is when people get stuck on the word omegas, omega 3s.
Right.
They're just slinging omega 3s around. That's only one part of an umbrella called essential fatty acids.
Right.
And it's very complicated, very complicated. On Instagram the other day, I saw an influencer promoting sprouts, chia sprouts. And he's saying, oh, you can get your omega 3s here and blah, blah, blah. And no, you actually can't. You can't get DHA or EPA. They don't, plants just don't make them. And so the vegan mentality is, I can get it all from plants, and it's not true. And so, you know, this guy is promoting something that could be dangerous, because if you get low in essential fatty acids, and again, there's a big profile underneath the umbrella of essential fatty acids. It's not one, it's not like vitamin B12 where it's just one. There's a list of things under there. There's omega 3s, omega 6s, omega 9s. And then those are split up into categories too. And if you get low in EFAs, you're looking at a lot of soft tissue deficiency problems. You're looking at breathing problems. You're looking at blood clots. You're looking at circulation issues, skin issues, potentially liver issues, organ issues. And so it's best to just do the fish oil and eat fish and eggs. You know, when I say fish oil, again, capped, professionally.
Yeah, capsule. Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, chia seeds are not, I don't recommend chia seeds at all.
No.
Not to mention, you put them in water, you see what happens. They cake up into like this.
They expand.
You really want that in your stomach? I don't understand why you would.
No.
They say, well, the Aztecs ate them. Well, okay. Well, they probably had stomach issues.
Right. So, yeah. So the best place to get it would be from a fish oil. And I know a lot of vegans and plant-based people have issues with that. But, you know, realistically, if you really want to get the full benefits, and, you know, you bring up a good point. How many vegans and plant-based people don't even think about supplementing because they've been so brainwashed to think that they can get all their nutrients if they eat the right vegetables and the right foods. But again, they don't take into account that what they're eating is nutritionally deficient to begin with.
That's right. The soil is depleted. And, you know, don't get me wrong, there are seafoods such as algae, sea plants, algae, sea moss, you know, they might have some good omegas in there, but complete.
Right. I mean, they're good. I mean, and we've never said don't take sea moss or don't eat the algae, but don't think that that's going to give you everything you need. Those are great little supplements. They're fine if you want to have them, if you like them. But, you know, they really aren't going to give you what you need. You know, you really got to make sure that whatever you're taking has everything in it, especially if you're a plant-based person.
Yep.
You know,
absolutely.
Right. All right. Very, very good. All right. The next, I'm going to do a little comment because this is an interesting one. This is from Soul Dancing on IG. And this is in response to one of your posture videos that you put out. So this is a little bit of a testy one, let's say.
Good.
Dr. Reese, as you know, there are many modalities in this world in the holistic sense that have proven to work and also work in harmony with others for many things. I know that firsthand as a therapist and also a client. Let's not make out that your way is the only way. Let's keep an open mind and always impress upon others to do the same. There is not only one way, your way. That's a dangerous promotion and a red flag. So what do you have to say about that? She's almost scolding you.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
telling you how to present your stuff.
Well, number one, I am dangerous.
And just so are the medical monopolies. So
and you should run. No, I'm not that type of dangerous.
no,
I'm dangerous because I'm breaking limited beliefs.
Right.
Number two, my way is the way. And she won't understand that for another 20 years.
Right. And you're not saying you can't do other modalities if you want.
No, you have to understand. People get offended because I'm saying your way is micro.
Right.
And my way is macro. And I lay it out in the book. So the massage therapists, they get mad at me. The acupuncturists, they get mad at me. The mental, the talk therapists, they get mad at me. The cupping, they get mad at me. The tapping, they get mad at me because I'm saying that your way is micro.
Right.
And my way is macro. And there's a difference. In other words, I have a heal all.
Right.
Which is 3 methods put together. And it's so ahead of its time that nobody's going to understand it for another 20 years. But those that do understand it are going to heal.
Right. And
now this woman is obviously doing micro methods.
Right. Many different ones, probably.
She's offended, and that's okay. So, come on back in 2042 and say hello.
Oh, she may not. She may be old. Who knows? But yeah, I agree with you, Kevin. And I've never heard you say, "Hey, don't go get a massage. Massages feel great, but don't think that's going to heal you, And don't, hey, want some acupuncture? If you like it needle stick into and you find it relieves some pain or whatever, go get some acupuncture. That's fine. But don't expect it to be the be all end all, because if you think you're just going to get acupuncture, but you're still eating junk food, then what's the point? So I've never heard you down any of the micro methods. I've just heard you say they are not the be all end all.
Yeah, it's in the book. I mean, the other thing I would say is, has this woman read my book?
That's a good question.
Has she watched these podcasts? The answer is no.
Right.
And so she's judging the movie by the movie trailer.
By the trailer. Yeah, I was.
So this is her problem. This is her limited belief. And that's something that she hopefully will correct in herself.
Right. Right. And this, that comes, a lot of people, this is back to the old thing. They're stuck in their certain modalities. And when you try to introduce something new to them, their immediate response is obviously to reject it, and that's, I know it's hard, you have to break through that. And sometimes it takes time, that's all you can do. But, there's no need to call dangerous, red flag and things like that, because if she really did listen, she would know that you really have never downed any other type of methods. You've just said that they're just not complete. The best way I could put it.
I'm perfectly fine with being dangerous. I'm just dangerous in a different way because I have to break the limited belief. I'm not dangerous in the way of harming your body. I'm dangerous in a way that I have to harm your mind because people are stuck.
Right. Right. And yeah. And again, and these are things that are not dangerous. Postural therapy is not dangerous. Getting a chiropractic adjustment is more dangerous than doing daily postural exercises. I got to tell you that I have been injured during a chiropractic adjustment. So, none of these things are dangerous, although you may be a dangerous character. The methods that you promote are not dangerous, at all. There's nothing dangerous about getting all your 90 essential nutrients. No matter what else you do, go ahead, have some sea moss. Go ahead, do whatever you want. Just take the 90 essential nutrients and don't eat the poor four. Nothing dangerous about that.
Yep.
Never going to hurt you to give up gluten. So I think you're right. It's a mindset thing with people. Okay, here's one from LaShawn on Facebook. What foods are we eating to help deal and defeat chronic pain? So, you give them the four foods that you don't eat, right? These are the four things you don't eat, but what do you eat? I guess is what he's saying. What are the foods, the best foods to eat to help defeat chronic pain?
It doesn't matter. As long as you're not eating gluten, oil, fried, and fake. And if you have a gut issue, then, there's another four foods you can't eat. And that's part of our protocols. But other than that, have at it. It doesn't matter all that much. You got to take your 90 essential nutrients. You have to stay off of the bad stuff, and you have to do your postural therapy, and you won't be in pain anymore. It's just that simple.
Right. It's pretty much a question of eliminating foods. And I'm sure there's a few things, that are heavily sugar laden or something like that you shouldn't eat. But most of those are fake.
Right. They fall under the category
of fake. Right. So, okay. Well, that's very good. So it's not a question of what you eat. It's what you don't eat. That's the best way to get started. All right. Here's one. Here's another comment. I'll read this whole thing. This is from Sumed, SUMEDH. I don't know how to pronounce that. And it doesn't say where it came from. So
he's from India. I know what you're talking about.
India. Okay. It says, I don't know if you'll see this. I'm suffering from 2 years of dizziness, balance issues, neck weakness, unable to walk, work, etc. And I'm only 23. I did talk to Coach Amber, but I found I cannot afford your program. I want to get better to be able to walk. Doctors have forsaken me. My parents are close to kicking me out. I have no motivation to get better because I don't know what to do. I did try the bad foods thing and did spend my savings on the 90 for 2 months. That didn't help. I did spend my savings in the 90s for 2 months. That didn't help. If you think you can help me, even point me in the right direction, I'm all up for it. I just want to be able to sit, stand, and walk as before. So this is basically somebody who doesn't have the financial means to get on the 90 on a regular basis, but yet he still wants to heal. And for me, it looks like postural therapy would be a good step, and at least staying off the poor four foods for now, right? This guy can't walk, so it's got to be a postural issue.
Yeah, and we evaluated him on a P-Ray already.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs postural therapy. He needs to be on the 90 essential nutrients. He needs our 120 program, basically.
Right.
But there's a problem. He said, he highlighted what the problem was. He said he has no motivation.
Right.
So it's already over. It's already over.
Because I don't know what to do. He says, I have no motivation because I don't know. Well, we're here, we're telling you what to do right now.
Now, if you don't have the money, then you raise the money.
Right.
It's just that simple. There's people doing it in Florida right now. Everyone raises money when they're in need. Put your pride to the side. Okay? Buddhist monks beg all the time. They sit out there with a bowl. Okay. Jesus used to go door to door. So the story says everyone has to put their pride to the side at some point and ask for legit help.
Right.
And you can. In this day and age, we have the internet. You can make a GoFundMe page and you can raise the money very quickly. Now, why is his parents asking him to leave? You know, that's another question. So there's something there underneath, because most
Yeah.
parents don't kick their kids out when they're in need.
Yeah. Something just came to me. How about mindfulness starting out? Because like you said, no motivation and things like that. How about mindfulness is free? You don't have to pay for that. You know what I mean? You can work on your own mind and it doesn't cost, especially if you're in India, you know, I mean, let's be real. There's plenty of people there you can talk to and help you with your mindfulness. Because to me, I think that's the first step.
Yeah.
Is get your motivation, your mind right. And you know, we know what I don't know if you mind it, but the cost of the nutrients is about 150 a month, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, what does that come out to a
Well,
week?
no, he would need more.
But to start, I mean, this would be just step number one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he said in the message that he tried getting off the poor four foods and that didn't work.
What do you mean it doesn't? That's what I don't understand. Never
The-
mind. I don't want it didn't
Getting
work.
that's
That's a base.
yes, getting off the poor four foods is something that you do for life. It's not a diet that you try for 2 months.
Right.
You know, it's something you do for life because you're allergic to those four foods. And I use the word allergic because if a doctor tells you you're allergic to apples, I guarantee you, you won't eat an apple ever again in your life.
Right.
So what I'm saying is treat these four foods like you're allergic and don't eat them ever again in your life.
Right.
Because it's a slow suicide.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I guarantee it. And the key in what he said is that he's not motivated.
Yeah.
And so if you're not motivated, it's already over. He's already lost. It's over.
Yeah.
So unless he becomes motivated, it's over.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and sling hope because hope isn't real.
Right.
Hope is a projection of the mind. I know that our 120-day program is a heal all to just about everything that you can imagine. So you either are motivated to do it or you're not. It's not my job to convince you. It's just my job to break your limited beliefs because some people don't understand that how the body works.
Right.
They don't understand that the body can heal itself in such ways. So I just give the information on how the body works and how to repair it. It's on you to find the motivation to pursue that or not.
Right. Right.
It's
And
like if you're, you know, if you want to be a professional athlete, but you don't have the motivation to practice your craft, your skills, you're not going to become a professional athlete.
right. And I
And
think, yeah, you bring up a good point. I think if he wants to a first step, get your mind right.
that's
You
right.
know, mindfulness.
That's right. If
You
I
know,
were him, now I'm a self-motivated person. So,
right.
but if I were him, I would go start raising the money on GoFundMe right now. We have a template that we give potential clients. We actually help them with that. And I would go to my parents and I would say, look, this is what I believe is going to help me. This is what I'm doing. Can you please let me live with you for one more year and let me accomplish this?
Give me a chance.
Give
Right.
me a chance.
But it's got to start with him getting out there and trying to do something. I mean, realistically, break it down. There are side hustles out there. Go sell something. If you break it down in weekly chunks, you know what I mean? It doesn't seem as daunting as the whole nut. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have the most funds in the world, but I find every month, I find that extra money to make sure that I keep the 90 essential nutrients in my regimen, so it's doable.
I was just watching an interview with someone who he's a multimillionaire in the construction business, and he grew up poor in like down south Louisiana or something like that, and he got into football. He used football to get a college scholarship. He got in there. He no plans on being a professional athlete. He just used it to get into college, got his degree, went out into the world, didn't have any money. So he had to hustle, making sheds or something like that. He raised $10,000. He took the $10,000, went and got a loan, and built a business. It took him 5 years, but he became a multimillionaire. Like, if you talk to a lot of successful people, they will tell you stories that will be mind-boggling.
Right.
$7. Yep. Dwayne Johnson struggled quite a bit. That's why his company is $7 Entertainment.
Yep.
Because he had $7 in his pocket. So where there's a will, there is a way. You got to get out of your own head.
Yeah, it seems like he's depressed. He has a depression issue right now. Yeah,
I get it, because when you're in pain, it brings you down.
Oh, it does, absolutely.
It brings you down. You become disabled, basically.
Yeah.
But find a way. Go listen to some David Goggins videos or something.
There's
right?
plenty of motivational people out there.
Plenty of motivational people. I ain't the guy. I'm not the motivation guy. I'm giving you information on the human body.
Right.
I'm not the motivator. Hope maybe you find the information motivating, like, oh my gosh, there's a solution.
But you have to have the motivation to actually go do it.
But I'm not a hope dealer. So.
Right. All right, listen, let's take a quick break. And we'll come back and finish up with the rest of the questions.
Have you read Peace Over Pain yet? This short but powerful book reveals how to eliminate chronic pain and/or illness faster than any other known therapeutic approach. Download the Peace Over Pain book for only $4.95 and gain instant access to the ebook version, audiobook version, and a video training with Dr. Reese. Go to peaceoverpain.com and start reading or listening right now. This is the information you've been praying for.
See, it says it right there. The information you've been
Right.
praying for. I'm giving the information. And so,
and the means.
And so that one line is quite powerful. The information that you've been praying for. In other words, somebody is out there saying, I'm in pain. I don't want to be in pain anymore. God, please give me the solution. And I have that solution.
Right.
And so this is the information that you've been praying for. But you got to be self-motivated to make it happen, because unlike the medical monopoly, unlike a chiropractor, unlike an osteopath, you have to do the work.
Right.
This is why people love massages and chiropractic and osteopath, because they say, oh, help me. And the doctor comes along and he touches them and he manipulates them, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do anything.
Right.
Oh, I'll come see you next month.
Same deal with the pills and the drugs.
Yep.
What do you got to do, child? Pop a pill. Pop a pill. It's easy. No, don't worry about exercise. Don't worry about what you eat. Just pop this pill. I love these cholesterol medicines. Just take this cholesterol medicine. Don't and go keep eating the fried foods. Keep eating because we want you to come back. That's why, people don't anyway, we can beat that dead horse around for a while, but we've been saying it for weeks here on this podcast. So, all right, let's get a few comments in. So these are comments in response to the post you made about Elaine. This one woman says for Merkeem. She says, "Oh my God, so cool. I'm 67 and I remember Jacqueline being on TV. I'm not that old, but I do remember him as well. This is from Raw Cacorn. As a little girl, I used to watch his show. He has continued to inspire me. And Ellen Burson, such a nice achievement, Kevin, to be recognized by Elaine the Lane." So that's going to be an exciting interview. And I just want to remind people they can find the Inner Peace podcast on Spotify, and you're also on YouTube, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, you have it all over. So please check that out. Okay, here is from 444 Blue on IG. And this is interesting because I was diagnosed with this as a kid too. And I can tell you what they did for me. I'm flat-footed. Is that reversible?
Absolutely. So all babies are born flat-footed.
Mm-hmm.
And what creates the arch in the foot is going to be your muscles developing. And that happens from crawling. And the problem is nowadays, we don't let our babies crawl.
They go right to walking. Yeah, they put them in those really things.
Yeah, we put them in the cribs, and then as soon as we can, we put cute little shoes on them, and so they're not developing their muscles because you need no shoes to develop the muscles, and you need to crawl. Crawling is one of the we have people crawl at the clinic all the time because it puts everything back in alignment, your shoulders, your knees, your hips, everything. So with flat feet, it's a muscle dysfunction, one of the root causes of this disease.
That makes sense.
And it just needs to be worked out, which we can do with postural therapy, no problem. Plus, there could be some deficiencies in soft tissue there, right? We're dealing with soft tissue. So
right.
We can work on the kinetic chain, we can work on the muscles, and that arch will start to come. A lot of doctors will put you into the orthotic, this, that, and the other. The orthotic's just going to make you weak. It's not a good idea. That the orthotic is to the foot what a pill is to the biochemistry. That's another, here, take the pill and you don't have to change your eating. It's one of those treating the symptoms type of thing. So yeah, we see arches come back all the time.
Oh, okay. And this is a good memo to parents. Okay. Let your children crawl.
You know what I would do?
Yeah.
This is hypothetical because I don't have a kid. But if I did, instead of a crib, I would give them a room.
A whole room.
A whole room. And I would baby proof the room. I'd put mats on the floor, just like gymnastic mats. And I'd make sure there's nothing, no trouble the baby can get into. And I would let them crawl around that room as much as they want.
All day.
Right? All day. Go knock yourself out. That's what I would do.
Yeah, because I know a couple of people with newborn babies. They put them right in these things that have them, that they stand up with wheels on them. I don't know if you've ever seen them.
Yeah.
And they want the baby to start walking.
Right.
Process, I see. And what you're saying is that could be dangerous, because I see where crawling, because of the way the feet are positioned when you crawl, would form that arch, especially when you're a baby and you don't have one yet.
That's right.
So there you go. It starts right from when you're a baby. And of course, a lot of these things do. But all right, I had,
Yeah. And then the other problem is a lot of us end up pronated or supinated. And we'll talk about this in a future episode. But, I was pronated, and, it causes major problems in the knees and the hips. The way the foot hits the ground, heel strike, toe off, heel strike, toe off. If you're coming in on the side, it's not good.
right.
If you're flat footed, oh my gosh, you're just like, it's like a slap.
Yeah. They put me on orthotics when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's what they did. They had me on orthotics.
And now you have a sway back. Go figure.
Gee, I wonder. So I guess my parents didn't let me crawl enough. But I remember I walked early. I was an early walker when I was a kid. So that could be it. I got one more question here. And this is from Facebook. It's from Sarifa Shea Sivamili. As a mom with a son who was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, and seeing how bad his manic states become when he's off the med, it would be too scary to risk getting him off his meds just to see if something might work. And this, again, I have a nephew who has been diagnosed with this. So I would like to kind of hear this answer. That's why I kind of slid it in there.
Yeah. So I think she's responding to last week. We were talking about schizophrenia.
Right.
And I laid out that it is a nutritional deficiency. 2 nutrients.
Right.
And so my reply to her would be, keep them on the meds, but work on getting them off the meds. It's a balance. It's just like blood pressure.
Right.
Or insulin, same concept. You bring the nutrition up, and then eventually the medicines come down, and they come down. And there's also mindfulness going on too. Again, we're paranoid, the word paranoid. Right. And so it's mineral deficiency, not being able to handle stress. Also, something evident in serial killers. And right now, everyone's talking about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
And maybe we'll do a whole episode on that sometime. But, there's definitely mineral deficiency there. No doubt about it.
Because he has to eat humans?
Well, it is a form of pica. It's certainly a form of pica. And he was instinctually curious about drinking blood and stuff like that. And
the blood, of course, has
the
tons of nutrients.
Tons of nutrition.
Right.
Tons of nutrition in blood. Tribes drink blood all the time.
No, the Mayans did it all. And we know other people drink blood.
You could go to Africa or Southern America right now, find a tribe. There are still tribes out there, and they will be drinking blood. Now,
most of them drink animal blood, but
it's not human blood, but that, blood is if we're a garden, blood is the soil.
Right. And actually, I used to know a guy out in LA who used to drink blood every morning. He would have it delivered to his house, refrigerated. He would keep it in his refrigerator, and he would drink a shot of blood every morning. Now, this guy is still alive today, and he was pretty old back then. Yeah, and
it's not, it sounds disgusting, and I've never drank it. I mean, outside of a little bit that's coming off of a nice steak, but.
Or when you get a cut.
It's, I'm told it tastes like chocolate, but, this is another limited belief. It's another limited belief. people who have become civilized on their little phones with their little electricity and their little cars, and they're so far away from their tribal state.
Right. And I'll say this right now. There are people today in high positions of power who realize that drinking blood helps with their longevity. And I'll leave it at that. All right, let's see. I have a question. Okay, Kevin. And this goes along with, my family things. I have a sister who's been diagnosed with COPD. And the damage came from smoking. Obviously, she was a heavy smoker for years. And now she's younger than me, a couple of years younger than me. She's on oxygen. They've got her on all these. Well, she's not on a ton of drugs anymore because
Probably an inhaler.
Probably an inhaler, but mostly I think the thing is that she's on oxygen. She has that stupid oxygen tank that she has to carry around with her all the time. So I'm wondering, is there a way, because the doctor's, she's already on disability, she can't work anymore.
Yes.
It's that severe.
Yes.
Is there a way to reverse that?
Yes. One, I'd almost guarantee she's kyphotic, meaning she's bent over.
Yeah, I know. I can tell her posture is bad. Yeah.
Well, you're leaning on the lungs.
Right.
So there's huge mistake number one. Huge.
Yeah.
And if your thoracic spine is messed up, well, what's the thoracic connected to? It's connected to the ribs. What's inside the ribs? Your hearts and your lungs.
Right.
Right. So this is a thoracic issue with messing up the organ. And then on top of it, she probably eats gluten. Gluten is a major problem.
No, I got her off it.
Okay, good. So that should help. And then now we're talking soft tissue. It's almost like this whole episode is about soft tissue in a way. Soft tissue deficiencies, affect all the organs.
Right. And I just want to go back to the last question real quick. So what you're recommending to the woman with the son with the schizophrenia is start the program. Don't take him off the drugs.
Yeah.
But what you're going to find is slowly, little by little, you're going to lessen the amount, and eventually you will get off it. And I can tell you that. And I worked on this with my sister. She was diagnosed with bipolar. I put her on medical marijuana and told her how to dose it. She's now off all her antipsychotics within a year. And she's just using CBD and medical marijuana.
Good.
So, I mean, that's a start. So it's possible. It is possible to get off these antipsychotic drugs, but you have to do the work. And you don't shock your system and just jump off them right away.
Yeah. And then the other question would be, does he have blood sugar issues? Because blood sugar issues cause mental issues. So, there's only so much we can do on a podcast. If they were to do an N-ray, do a P-ray. That's my advice to everyone watching. You want to get better?
Get the diet. Yeah. Get the N-ray, the P-ray. It's free.
Get the N-ray, get the P-ray, and read the book.
Yeah.
Free.
Yeah.
What else, what else can you ask for? Find out what's wrong with you so we can figure out the root causes first.
Right.
And Tina just left a comment. She says, she's talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. She says, was he healthy for eating hearts? Oh, yeah, of course. There's tons of nutrition in hearts, and people sell cow hearts all the time.
And we've talked about eating animal organs. We don't recommend eating human organs, but animal organs, like liver, heart, that if you can find them at your butcher shop, problem.
Yeah, cows would be much more healthy than a human because cows are ruminants and they have 4 stomachs, which means they take the plants and they digest it in a certain way where it becomes even more healthy. So in that way, the cow is a machine that's making us more healthy. If you ate pig dog or human, it wouldn't be as healthy because
Right.
we only have one stomach.
Oh.
But still healthy nonetheless to eat organs. But yeah, I don't recommend anyone
Eating human organs, because you never know what that person's eating. He could be eating poor four. You're not going to get a lot of nutrition out of that. He could be nutritionally deficient, right?
Right.
At least we know the cows, they do, again, supplement the feed and do all that, because again, they feed better animals better than they feed us.
Yeah.
But we are almost out of time. So it is time to say any parting thoughts for the audience. November 5th, right?
November 5th, I'm live in Farmington, Connecticut at the Bridge Healing and Arts Center. And also October 20th, the third Thursday of the month, I'm at Melly Mellow on Greenwich Avenue in Greenwich, Connecticut. So I'm starting to get out there again, first time in 3 years. And I'm sure I'll have tons of stories to report back.
Yeah, and just just a reminder to people to like, follow, subscribe, share on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Instagram. We are all over the place. And if you would like to book Dr. Reese for a personal appearance, you can probably contact him through the Facebook group or through peaceoverpain.com, correct?
Sure, do it.
And if you want him to appear on your podcast. So all right, Kevin, it's been a great show, and we encourage people to keep sending in their questions so we can have more episodes like this. And I encourage you to keep posting controversial stuff on the internet so that we can keep getting these questions and comments. So, I mean, all right, good.
Keep triggering people.
Keep triggering people. Let's get their questions going. The more trigger, the better. All right, Kevin, we will see everybody next week. And it's been a great show. Talk to you then.
Thanks for watching the Peace Over Pain podcast live inside our clinic's Facebook group. Be sure to submit a question or comment for next week's show at peaceoverpain.com. Also, perform some goodwill and tell a friend in pain that you found their solution. Refer them to the Peace Over Pain podcast and the Peace Over Pain book and help them move closer to their miracle.